There's a simple truth about success that most people ignore. It doesn't start with talent, luck, or opportunity. It begins with belief. The way you see yourself determines how far you'll go, because every action you take is a reflection of what you think you deserve. When you believe in yourself, you activate a mindset that attracts progress, growth, and purpose. When you don't, even the greatest opportunities will feel out of reach. Believing in yourself isn't about arrogance or pretending to have it all figured out. It's about developing trust in your own ability to learn, adapt, and persevere. It's understanding that confidence is not something you're born with. It's something you build one decision at a time. So let's explore 10 ways to build that belief so you can achieve anything you set your mind to. The first way is to know your why. You cannot believe in yourself if you don't know what drives you. Purpose gives meaning to your effort. When you're clear on why you're doing something, even the hardest days have direction. People who believe in themselves aren't motivated by comparison or applause. They're driven by something deeper, something that makes quitting impossible. Second, embrace your imperfections. Perfection is a myth that paralyzes growth. Confidence doesn't come from being flawless, it comes from being real. The moment you accept your weaknesses as part of your humanity, you remove the fear of failure. Belief grows in the space where self-judgment ends. Third, keep promises to yourself. Every time you set a goal and follow through, even in small things, you strengthen the foundation of self-trust. When you tell yourself, I'll do it, and you actually do, your brain learns to see you as reliable. Self-belief is built through consistency, not motivation. Fourth, choose progress over perfection. You don't have to be the best. You just have to be better than you were yesterday. Too often, people wait for confidence before taking action, but confidence comes from action. Every step forward, no matter how small, reinforces the belief that you are capable of more. Fifth, surround yourself with belief builders. The people you spend time with either amplify your belief or drain it. Seek those who challenge you to rise higher, who see potential in you even when you don't. Sometimes, borrowing someone else's belief in you is the first step toward developing your own. Sixth, learn from failure. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's a part of it. Every setback carries a lesson that strengthens your character. People who achieve great things aren't those who never fall, they're those who refuse to stay down. Believing in yourself means trusting that you can recover, rebuild, and rise stronger. Seventh, celebrate your progress. Too many people skip their small victories, waiting for something big to feel proud of. But self-belief grows through acknowledgement. When you pause to appreciate your effort, you reinforce the idea that what you do matters. Gratitude turns progress into momentum. Eighth, feed your mind with positivity. The thoughts you entertain shape your reality. You cannot believe in yourself if your inner dialogue is filled with doubt. Replace "I can't" with "I'll try." Replace "I'm not ready" with "I'm learning." Your words become your world. Speak possibility into your life. Ninth, visualize success. The mind is powerful. It believes what it repeatedly sees. When you visualize yourself succeeding, your brain begins to build pathways that make it more achievable. This isn't wishful thinking, it's mental rehearsal. Seeing yourself win before you actually do gives you the courage to take real steps. And finally, stay patient and persistent. Self-belief doesn't grow overnight. It's a daily choice. Every morning, you have the opportunity to either feed your fear or feed your faith. The results may take time, but persistence turns belief into achievement. Believing in yourself is not about pretending to be fearless. It's about trusting that even when fear is present, you can still move forward. It's about replacing doubt with discipline, hesitation with hope, and insecurity with effort. When you do that, there's no limit to what you can achieve. 5 keynotes of the speech, True Belief, begins with understanding your why. Purpose drives confidence. Self-belief is built by embracing imperfection and keeping promises to yourself. Confidence comes from progress, not perfection. Take action even when unsure. Surround yourself with people who uplift and challenge your potential. Persistence, patience, and positive thinking transform belief into achievement. True belief begins with understanding your why. Your why is the reason behind every goal, every decision, and every sacrifice you make. It is the inner force that gives direction to your actions and meaning to your struggles. Without it, even the most talented person can feel lost. People often chase success without understanding what it truly means to them. They follow paths that look appealing from the outside, only to realize later that they were climbing the wrong mountain. The truth is, belief cannot survive in confusion. You cannot truly believe in yourself until you are clear about why you do what you do. When you know your why, you create emotional clarity. It becomes your compass. In moments of doubt, that reason reminds you why you started in the first place. When things get hard, and they will, it is not motivation that keeps you going, but purpose. Motivation fades when circumstances become uncomfortable, but purpose endures through pain, uncertainty, and rejection. It gives you something stronger than comfort to hold on to. For example, a student who studies only to pass exams may give up when the syllabus feels overwhelming. But a student who studies to build a meaningful future, to make their parents proud, or to serve a greater cause finds a deeper drive to continue. That drive is what belief feeds on. It gives your effort meaning. People who understand their why don't depend on external validation. Their belief is rooted internally. They are not working to impress others. They are working to fulfill a calling. When your reason is strong, You don't need applause to keep going. You find satisfaction in the process itself. This inner satisfaction builds quiet confidence, a type of belief that doesn't require noise or recognition. It allows you to stand firm when others doubt you because your conviction doesn't depend on their approval. Understanding your why also helps you make better decisions. When you are clear about what matters to you, you can easily say no to distractions that don't serve your purpose. Many people lose belief in themselves because they spend too much time chasing what others expect from them. They start living a life designed by comparison instead of intention. But when you are guided by your purpose, your actions align with your values. Every step you take moves you closer to something that matters, and that alignment creates self-trust. You begin to see your life as meaningful, not accidental. Belief in yourself is strongest when your purpose is personal. It doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just has to be true to who you are. Some people find their why in creating, others in helping, some in leading, and others in learning. What matters is that your purpose reflects what you care about deeply. For instance, a person who starts a small business to support their family has as much purpose as a scientist seeking a cure for disease. Both are guided by meaning. Both are fueled by belief. Your why also transforms how you handle failure. When your focus is only on achievement, failure feels like the end. But when your focus is on purpose, failure becomes a teacher. You start to see setbacks as part of the journey rather than proof that you're not enough. The belief that grows from purpose is resilient. It doesn't break easily because it's not based on immediate success. It's based on long-term meaning. Purpose gives pain a reason. It turns challenges into lessons, struggles into stories, and effort into growth. Finding your why is not always simple. It requires self-reflection, honesty, and patience. You must be willing to look inward and ask yourself difficult questions. What do I care about most? What do I want my life to stand for? What kind of impact do I want to make? These questions help you uncover the deeper motivations behind your goals. It's not enough to say, I want to be successful. You must ask, why do I want success? Because success without meaning feels empty, while meaning without success still feels fulfilling. Once you identify your why, you start living intentionally. Every action, no matter how small, becomes part of something larger. You no longer drift through life reacting to circumstances. You respond with purpose. That shift changes everything. You stop seeing obstacles as roadblocks and start viewing them as opportunities to strengthen your commitment. This is where belief truly begins. It's no longer about whether the world believes in you. It's about whether you believe in your mission. When your why is clear, confidence becomes natural. You stop doubting whether you're capable and start focusing on why you must try. That mindset pushes you to take risks, to step out of your comfort zone, and to stay consistent even when results are slow. Purpose turns hesitation into action and uncertainty into direction. It gives you a reason to keep moving forward even when logic says to stop. In the end, belief in yourself is not something you force, it's something you uncover when you connect with meaning. Knowing your why doesn't just help you achieve your goals, it helps you become someone who lives with conviction, clarity, and courage. When your actions are rooted in purpose, you no longer need to wait for confidence. You create it through every choice aligned with what truly matters to you. Self-belief is built by embracing imperfection and keeping promises to yourself. The idea of believing in yourself often gets confused with the image of perfection. Many people think confidence means being flawless, having all the answers, and never making mistakes. But the truth is the opposite. Real confidence grows when you accept that you're imperfect and still worthy of success. It's about knowing that your flaws don't define your value. They reveal your humanity. Every person who has achieved something meaningful has done so not because they were perfect, but because they decided to keep going despite their imperfections. When you embrace imperfection, you give yourself permission to grow. You stop waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect version of yourself to start taking action. You understand that learning happens through mistakes, not in their absence. Most people lose belief in themselves because they keep comparing their behind the scenes struggles with someone else's highlight reel. They see others succeed and think they must have it all figured out, forgetting that everyone battles self-doubt, fear, and uncertainty. The difference between those who move forward and those who stay stuck is acceptance. The ones who move forward accept that imperfection is part of the process. They don't let fear of failure freeze their progress. Embracing imperfection doesn't mean you stop improving. It means you stop waiting to be flawless before you try. When you understand that mistakes are feedback, not evidence of weakness, you start viewing challenges differently. Each failure becomes a lesson that sharpens your character. Each mistake becomes a teacher that strengthens your resilience. This mindset shift transforms how you see yourself. Instead of saying, I failed, you begin to say, I learned. That small change in language is the foundation of self-belief because it turns setbacks into growth. Along with embracing imperfection, the second part of this truth is learning to keep promises to yourself. Confidence is not built through motivation or pep talks. It's built through self-trust. Every time you make a commitment to yourself and follow through, you're proving to your own mind that you can be trusted. It could be as simple as waking up at the time you planned, finishing a task you started, or sticking to a small habit. Each act of consistency reinforces your inner belief. On the other hand, when you constantly break promises to yourself, when you say you'll do something and don't, You weaken your self-trust. Your mind starts to associate your words with doubt rather than action. Over time, this leads to insecurity, procrastination, and a lack of confidence. Think of self-belief like a muscle. Every time you keep your word to yourself, you strengthen it. Every time you break it, you weaken it. The reason many people struggle with confidence is not because they're incapable. It's because they've trained their mind to doubt their own intentions. They've said, I'll start tomorrow, so many times that even when they finally do, their belief feels fragile. The way to rebuild that is not through grand gestures, but through consistency in small things. When you start keeping promises to yourself again, even tiny ones, your mind begins to trust that your actions will match your words. That's how belief grows, quietly, gradually, and powerfully. Keeping promises to yourself also builds integrity. It teaches you discipline and self-respect. When you treat your own word as sacred, you stop depending on external motivation to take action. You start doing things because you said you would, not because you feel like it. This kind of discipline is what separates those who dream from those who achieve. It transforms self-belief from a feeling into a habit. You no longer need to feel confident to act. You act because you've built the habit of showing up no matter what. There's something deeply empowering about knowing that you can rely on yourself. It removes the need to constantly seek reassurance from others. You stop looking outward for validation and start building it inward. The more you trust yourself, the less the opinions of others control you. People who truly believe in themselves don't ignore feedback, but they don't let it define them either. Their self-worth is anchored in their effort, not in external approval. Combining the acceptance of imperfection with the discipline of keeping promises creates unshakable confidence. You stop chasing perfection because you understand that growth is messy. You stop fearing failure because you know it's part of learning. You stop doubting yourself because your actions prove your commitment. This mindset doesn't just change how you work, it changes how you live. It brings peace to your inner world because you're no longer fighting yourself. You accept your humanity while striving for improvement. When you make peace with imperfection, you become more compassionate toward yourself. You no longer criticize every mistake or compare every flaw. You begin to understand that self-belief isn't about being the best. It's about being honest with yourself and still choosing to move forward. That honesty gives you strength because it's rooted in reality, not illusion. Confidence built on denial is fragile. Confidence built on truth is unbreakable. So, when you learn to accept your imperfections and consistently keep promises to yourself, something powerful happens. You start to feel alignment between who you are and who you want to become. That alignment creates a deep sense of inner belief that no failure, criticism, or challenge can take away. It's not loud or boastful. It's quiet, steady, and real. It's the kind of belief that doesn't need proof because it's built through action, trust, and authenticity. Confidence comes from progress, not perfection. Take action even when unsure. One of the biggest misunderstandings about confidence is that it comes first, that you need to feel ready before you can start. But the truth is, confidence doesn't appear magically. It's built through small actions that move you forward, even when you don't feel fully prepared. The people who achieve the most are not always the ones who started with the most belief. They're the ones who took the first step despite the uncertainty. Progress builds evidence, and that evidence becomes the foundation of belief. Every time you take action, you give your mind proof that you're capable. Without action, belief remains an idea. You can read all the books, listen to motivational speeches, and dream endlessly. But until you do something, your belief will stay theoretical. Taking that first uncomfortable step is where confidence begins. It's like climbing stairs in the dark. You might not see the whole path, but you trust that the next step will appear as you move. Waiting for perfection before you start is like waiting for the weather to be perfect before you leave the house. You end up waiting forever. Progress gives you something perfection never can: growth. When you aim for perfection, you set an impossible standard that constantly reminds you of what's missing. But when you focus on progress, you celebrate effort, learning, and improvement. This shift in focus changes everything. You stop asking, am I good enough? And start asking, what did I learn today? That single change removes the pressure to be flawless and replaces it with curiosity. Instead of fearing failure, you begin to see it as feedback. That feedback becomes your guide, showing you where to adjust and how to get better. Confidence is not the absence of fear, it's the decision to move forward despite it. Every person who appears confident has simply practiced action long enough that it feels natural. Think of it like building muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. At first, it feels uncomfortable, uncertain, and sometimes embarrassing. You make mistakes, stumble, and question yourself. But with each repetition, your comfort zone expands. What once scared you becomes familiar. Confidence grows quietly through experience, not instant mastery. Perfectionism, on the other hand, is the enemy of progress. It disguises itself as high standards, but often hides fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. The problem is perfectionism keeps you from starting. You spend so much time planning, analyzing, and waiting for the right moment that you miss the chance to grow. Progress may not look glamorous, it's often messy, uncertain, and full of small setbacks. But it's real, and real progress creates real belief. Each time you act, even imperfectly, you're teaching your brain that you can handle challenges, adapt, and improve. Taking action when you're unsure also develops resilience. Uncertainty forces you to rely on adaptability instead of control. It teaches you that you don't need to have everything figured out to make things work. That experience builds trust, not in the situation, but in yourself. You begin to realize that you can handle the unknown, and that realization becomes one of the strongest sources of self-belief. The most confident people aren't those who always succeed. They're those who know they can recover when they fail. When you focus on progress, even small wins matter. Each step forward adds to your internal evidence bank. That's how confidence truly forms, not through constant success, but through consistent movement. A person who runs 1 mile today, even slowly, builds more belief than the person who spends weeks planning a perfect workout but never starts. Action creates momentum, and momentum sustains motivation. Once you experience that feeling of moving forward, it becomes addictive. You start to crave growth more than approval, learning more than perfection. Progress also shifts your identity. When you take small, consistent actions, your brain begins to redefine who you are. You stop seeing yourself as someone who wants to change and start seeing yourself as someone who is changing. This identity shift reinforces belief because your self-image catches up with your actions. The more you act, the more you prove to yourself that you're capable, and the more capable you feel, the more you act. It becomes a powerful loop of progress feeding confidence and confidence fueling further progress. Even in moments when things don't go as planned, progress still happens. Failure is progress if you learn something. Discomfort is progress if it stretches your limits. The problem is most people only measure progress through results, not effort. They think, if I didn't succeed, I failed. But growth often hides behind moments that don't look successful. Every mistake you make adds to your experience. Every attempt you take builds emotional endurance. Confidence is not born from getting everything right. It's born from surviving what went wrong and continuing anyway. Taking action when you're unsure is also a declaration of faith in yourself and in the process. It says, I may not know everything, but I trust that I'll learn. That mindset keeps you moving when doubt tries to stop you. You start to realize that progress is not about speed, it's about direction. Even slow progress is better than standing still. You can refine your methods along the way, but you can't correct something that hasn't begun. In truth, no one ever feels completely ready. Readiness is a myth that perfectionism sells to keep you from trying. The most successful people started with uncertainty. They didn't have all the answers, they figured them out by moving. Each time they acted, they gained experience, clarity, and belief. You can do the same. Every time you take action, even imperfectly, you build proof that you can handle what comes next. And that proof becomes your confidence piece by piece, step by step, until you no longer need to feel ready, you simply know you can begin. Surrounding yourself with people who uplift and challenge your potential is one of the most powerful ways to build self-belief. Humans are social creatures, and the energy, attitudes, and beliefs of those around us influence how we think about ourselves. You can study, practice, and try to build confidence on your own, but the environment you create significantly shapes the results. The people you choose to spend time with can either reinforce your belief in your abilities or chip away at it slowly, almost without you realizing it. Think about it this way, negativity and doubt are contagious. Being around people who constantly criticize, complain, or dismiss your ideas can make you second guess yourself, even if you started with clarity and confidence. On the other hand, being around people who believe in growth, who encourage effort, and who push you to reach higher raises the bar for what you believe is possible. Surrounding yourself with the right kind of people doesn't just make you feel better in the moment. It reshapes your identity over time. Your mind begins to internalize the expectations and attitudes of those closest to you. It's not enough for people to simply support you passively. The most transformative relationships are those that challenge you. Growth happens when you are stretched beyond your comfort zone, and that rarely happens alone. Friends, mentors, colleagues, or even peers who hold you accountable force you to confront your fears, develop discipline, and refine your skills. They act as mirrors, reflecting both your strengths and areas where improvement is necessary. Constructive feedback may feel uncomfortable at times, but it is essential for strengthening your belief in yourself. Confidence built without challenge is fragile. Confidence built through testing and feedback is resilient. Surrounding yourself with the right people also shifts your perspective on failure. When you are around individuals who treat mistakes as learning opportunities, you begin to see setbacks differently. You stop interpreting them as evidence that you aren't capable and instead view them as part of the journey. Being in an environment where failure is normalized reduces fear and opens the door to experimentation and risk-taking, which are essential for growth. This is a stark contrast to environments where mistakes are judged harshly or ridiculed, which tend to stifle initiative and reinforce self-doubt. It's equally important to recognize that not everyone around you will align with your purpose or values, and that's okay. Part of building self-belief is learning to selectively invest in relationships that inspire, challenge, and elevate you. You don't have to cut people off entirely, but you do have to be intentional about where you place your focus. Time and attention are limited resources. When you spend them on those who bring out your best, your belief in your abilities grows faster. When you spend them on those who diminish your potential, you waste energy and undermine your confidence. Mentorship is one of the most effective ways to surround yourself with belief builders. Mentors provide guidance based on experience, helping you navigate challenges more efficiently. They can see potential in you that you may not yet recognize yourself. Their belief acts as a catalyst for your own, showing you that growth is possible and that your goals are attainable. A mentor doesn't do the work for you, but their encouragement and insights make the path clearer, giving you the courage to act when you might otherwise hesitate. Peers can also play a critical role. Being part of a community of like-minded individuals who are striving for improvement creates a shared energy of growth. When you see others taking action, learning, and progressing, it normalizes the process and motivates you to keep pace. This kind of environment reinforces the idea that challenges are surmountable and that effort leads to results. Social proof in this context strengthens your belief in what you can achieve. At the same time, surrounding yourself with belief builders isn't just about receiving support, it's also about giving it. Confidence grows in an ecosystem of mutual encouragement. When you help others achieve their potential, you reinforce your own belief. Teaching, coaching, or simply offering encouragement requires reflection on your own skills, knowledge, and experiences. Each time you guide someone else, you remind yourself of what you are capable of. Creating this environment also requires courage. It may mean distancing yourself from relationships that drain your energy, breaking habits of people-pleasing, and setting boundaries with those who consistently sow doubt. These are not easy decisions, but they are necessary for protecting and nurturing your self-belief. Confidence thrives in an ecosystem of support, challenge, and positivity. The people you surround yourself with influence how you interpret your own experiences, how you respond to setbacks, and how high you aim. Their energy either elevates you or holds you back. By intentionally choosing those who uplift, challenge, and inspire, you create a reality in which self-belief can grow naturally. You don't just gain confidence by being alone with your thoughts. You gain it by entering an environment where growth, accountability, and encouragement are constant. This environment becomes a fertile ground where your potential can flourish and where your belief in yourself becomes undeniable. The relationships you nurture and the company you keep are not just accessories to success. They are foundational to it. The people who challenge you, reflect your potential, and support your growth help you see what you are capable of before you even realize it yourself. In this way, belief in yourself becomes a natural byproduct of being in the right circles, learning from the right experiences, and engaging with those who push you to rise. Persistence, patience, and positive thinking transform belief into achievement. Believing in yourself is only the first step. Sustaining that belief over time is what turns it into tangible results. Many people start with energy and enthusiasm, but the world has a way of testing resolve. Challenges, setbacks, and slow progress can chip away at confidence if it is not backed by persistence. The truth is, belief alone is not enough. Without consistent effort, even the strongest conviction fades. Persistence is the bridge between intention and achievement. Persistence is not about blindly repeating the same action over and over. It is about continuously moving forward despite obstacles. Every person who has accomplished something remarkable has faced moments of doubt, failure, and frustration. What separates them from those who give up is the decision to keep going, even when immediate results are not visible. Action becomes a statement of belief, a proof that you trust your own abilities and the process itself. Each time you refuse to quit, you reinforce your confidence, creating momentum that carries you through difficult periods. Patience is equally essential. Results rarely appear overnight. Society often glorifies instant success, making us feel inadequate when progress is slow. But achievement is rarely a straight line. It is a series of small steps, sometimes forward, sometimes sideways, occasionally even backward. Patience allows you to endure this process without losing faith in yourself. It reminds you that growth takes time and that every effort counts, even if the outcome isn't immediately apparent. Without patience, persistence can turn into frustration, and frustration can erode self-belief. The combination of persistence and patience ensures that you stay committed for the long haul, trusting that your efforts will compound over time. Positive thinking acts as the catalyst that keeps persistence and patience alive. The mind interprets challenges based on the stories you tell yourself. If you view setbacks as failures or obstacles as insurmountable, your belief weakens. But if you adopt a mindset that sees opportunity in difficulty, lessons in mistakes, and potential in uncertainty, your confidence grows stronger. Positive thinking doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means choosing to focus on what is possible rather than what is missing. It frames effort as progress and struggle as a sign that you are moving beyond your comfort zone. When persistence, patience, and positive thinking work together, they form a powerful cycle. Persistence leads to action. Action produces results, and results, however small, reinforce belief. Patience allows you to remain steady when the results are delayed, preventing premature discouragement. Positive thinking ensures that each experience, whether success or setback, strengthens your conviction rather than diminishes it. This cycle compounds over time, turning small, consistent efforts into significant achievements. Many people underestimate the power of consistency. They expect big leaps and become frustrated when change feels slow. But real progress is cumulative. Every small decision to keep going adds up. A person who writes a page a day may not notice immediate improvement, but over a year, they will have written hundreds of pages. A person who takes small steps to improve a skill may not feel mastery day by day, but eventually competence becomes natural. Persistence is the engine, patience is the fuel, and positive thinking is the guidance system. Together, they ensure that belief doesn't fade before results arrive. Persistence also strengthens resilience. Each time you push forward despite fear, doubt, or criticism, you prove to yourself that you can endure adversity. This builds inner strength, which in turn reinforces belief. The more resilient you become, the less external circumstances can shake your confidence. You start to trust yourself not because the world is always favorable, but because you know you can handle challenges when they arise. This self-trust becomes a cornerstone of long-term success. Patience is more than waiting. It is active endurance. It requires understanding that the path to achievement is a process, not an event. While waiting, you continue learning, improving, and preparing. Patience allows you to avoid hasty decisions driven by frustration or fear. It creates space to make thoughtful choices, to reflect on what is working, and to adjust your approach without losing faith. People who master patience rarely burn out or abandon their goals. They move steadily, confidently, and intelligently toward them. Positive thinking keeps your focus on possibility rather than limitation. It encourages you to see challenges as opportunities to grow, obstacles as invitations to innovate, and mistakes as teachers rather than verdicts. This mindset prevents temporary setbacks from becoming permanent barriers. It allows you to interpret experiences constructively, learning from them instead of being defeated by them. A positive perspective amplifies persistence and patience, because when you believe that progress is possible, you are more willing to keep going and endure the process. The integration of persistence, patience, and positive thinking transforms belief from a feeling into a habit, and from a habit into achievement. One without the other is insufficient. Persistence without patience leads to burnout. Patience without persistence leads to stagnation, and both without positive thinking lead to discouragement. But together, they create a sustainable force that propels you toward your goals, even when challenges arise. Ultimately, the most successful people are those who refuse to give up, who trust the process, and who maintain a hopeful outlook despite obstacles. Their achievements are not the result of flawless planning or immediate success. They are the result of persistent effort, patient endurance, and a mindset that sees possibility in every step. When you cultivate these qualities, your self-belief becomes unshakable, and you gain the ability to achieve anything you set your mind to. Believing in yourself is not a one-time decision. It is a daily practice, a mindset, and a commitment to growth. It begins with understanding your purpose, embracing your imperfections, taking action even when unsure, surrounding yourself with those who challenge and uplift you, and cultivating persistence, patience, and positive thinking. Each of these steps reinforces the others, creating a cycle where belief grows stronger with every effort, every lesson, and every small victory. When you intentionally apply these principles, doubt loses its power, fear becomes fuel, and challenges transform into opportunities. True self-belief allows you to move forward with confidence, resilience, and clarity, unlocking your potential to achieve anything you set your mind to. Your journey toward success begins the moment you decide to trust yourself, take consistent action, and never stop believing in what you are capable of.